Hello everyone, I'm Nicole Morris, a University of Arizona Global Campus doctoral student. This presentation will explore the sensory system and its primary functions, including neural connections and the transduction of stimuli in corresponding brain regions, as well as the importance and psychological diagnoses associated with those impairments. The 8 senses process external stimuli through sensory organs responsible for delivering messages from our environment to our brain. The brain is our CPU, and our body is the tower that holds everything in place. Each has a very important, crucial job to do at delivering messages to the brain. Each sensory system's transduction of stimuli is different, but shares a common functionality, which is converting signals to the proper location in the brain for neural processing. The cortical regions in the brain, such as the cerebral cortex, the parietal lobe, and occipital lobe, are responsible for gathering sensory stimuli. The cerebral cortex covers the outer exterior of the brain, which is folded, wrinkly portion, which is responsible for the absorption of the external sensory stimuli, gathering of information. For example, the olfactory process in the illustrated video is a cellular demonstration of how smell is absorbed by chemical receptors and processed in the nasal cavity, which then travels to the orbital frontal cerebral cortex region. The video depicts only one of the many fascinating ways in which the brain gathers external information, which it absorbs and then processes into information. The neurons of the cerebral cortex then send information they gather from the 8 senses to the thalamus, which is the brain's relay center. However, the brain in its entirety, depending on what sensory is researched, will employ different regions within the brain that are independent. For example, the eyes will send information to the occipital cerebral cortex, which is then gathered from the visual cortex. The brain is an intricate network system that works concisely when interpreting external stimuli. The sensory system functioning is too complex to fit in the duration of a short video in its entirety, which is fascinating. On to the next slide. Understanding the sensory system is crucial in an everyday setting and professional psychological career. The reason is, if someone has a visual or auditory impairment, they can gain the assistance of others more efficiently, as our brain can better recognize the signs with proper education and knowledge. Another reason is sensory issues can affect external movement adjacent to underlying disorders such as Parkinson's, epilepsy, those with hearing and visual impairments. For example, if someone has a sensory visual issues such as strobe lights that induce seizures, that information is crucial for society and in one's workplace. Autism spectrum disorder is another example of mixed motor and sensory issues, and why understanding is crucial for both professionals and society. If symptomologies are understood by others, it can help alleviate problems for individuals that have been diagnosed with certain disorders. Another example of a sensory system function that many do not consider is vestibular, which aids in spatial orientation and provides the body with proper balance. Vestibular problems can give individuals an unsteady gait, which correlates to psychological symptomologies such as autism spectrum disorder, Alzheimer, head injuries, Parkinson's, and many more. Knowing this information gives professionals knowledge concerning neural causations, which narrow disorders to help professionals diagnose correctly. This information is crucial for psychologists and other medical professionals to understand, because if someone's balance is abnormal, it can signify to that professional that there's an underlying disorder that might need to be addressed promptly and appropriately. Vestibular issues affect the motor and sensory systems functioning as they are intertwined, so I thought that was interesting as well. On to the next slide. This presentation explored some really key topics on the sensory system and how they connected to the motor system in various ways, especially for those susceptible to dysfunction, which is beneficial to professionals when ruling out symptomologies for diagnoses. The presentation exhibited the primary functions of the sensory system and the transduction of stimuli corresponding to proper brain regions, and the importance of their normative functioning and what happens if they're not in a state of normative functioning. The sensory system is impressive, with so many fascinating neural and molecular components that could be talked about for hours, as there's a plethora of information to ascertain about each. I hope you all enjoyed my short presentation that was packed with a lot of information. I hope you all have a good rest of your week. Thank you for watching.